welcome to Educated STEM. I'm Kate, and today I thought I would talk to you about something I'm very experienced in, which is how to apply to graduate school. So the first thing I want to talk about is why on earth you should listen to me on this topic. So for probably about 7 years, I was heavily involved in the admissions process of a graduate program. So at the beginning, when I was a lower level administrator, I went out on recruitment trips and talked to the various candidates. I assisted them through the application process. I was the person who answered the questions, who was responsible for the website, the application site. I was responsible for organising the interviews. I coordinated everything for the admissions committee. I was in the room for all of their discussions. I know what they liked, what they didn't like, what really helped candidates, what hindered them. And so I saw the entire process. And then as I went higher in the graduate school hierarchy, ultimately to one of the associate deans, where I was responsible for looking at the finances of the program, it was literally my responsibility to figure out how many students we could afford, talking about all of the nitty-gritty. So I thought that I would take all of that experience and I would kind of craft 10 or 11 tips that you can utilize right now on your application, so hopefully that you'll be successful. So how many people actually have graduate or higher degrees in the United States? And so I thought you might be interested to know that. According to the 2018 census, that's 13.1% of adults have either a master's or a doctorate degree. So if you're considering joining us, then congratulations. It's a wonderful thing to do. It can really open up your career opportunities. But that's one of the first tips that I want to discuss is, do you actually need a higher degree for the career that you're interested in? So how do you know if that's true? So there are a number of routes you can go. You can look at the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So this is probably in your undergraduate career center. You can get it from libraries. You can purchase it. It's actually not that expensive. But it has lots of information on many different career pathways. It will talk to you about the educational requirements. It will talk to you about any different accreditations you might need after you have graduated. You can't just start with some professions. And it will also give you an idea on the kind of salary that you might earn, something that you might want to consider, because lots of people are like, yes, I want to become a scientist, they make bank. I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, that's not necessarily the case. So if you think that you're going to get a PhD in a scientific a subject and suddenly earn 100K, that's not going to happen. So do your research first. So this is one resource. You could go to ONET, which is another career resource on the internet, or you can talk to mentors who are in the field that you're interested in and kind of figure out what is absolutely required. So a PhD might be a minimal entry point if you want to become a research scientist. You can become a research associate with a bachelor's. If you get a master's, you can go higher up and get inserted at a higher level. If you get a PhD, then you might be on track to become a full professor who is going to have their own research lab and will train students. So realistically, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's the first question. And do you need a graduate degree to get you there? If you do, fabulous. Continue watching this video and I will help you along the way. So the next thing is to try and figure out how many schools you want to apply for. And there is a financial restraint to this because each of them are probably going to have a fee, so that you might be restrained purely by how much you can afford, which really sucks, but it's a true statement, true fact. So I want to suggest that you apply to maybe 6 programs, and I have a rationale for that. So 2 programs I want you to apply for. You meet all the requirements. You think that you're a really good candidate for it. You're a shoo-in. This is going to be your safety school. You are definitely going to get into these programs. Then pick 2 which are probably on the correct level for your abilities. You definitely have a good chance of getting in, but it's going to be competitive. This isn't going to be a shoo-in any way. And then I want you to choose 2 schools where you're really reaching for the stars. Because you never know. When I was applying for my PhD program back in the day now, I actually applied for both Oxford and Cambridge, and I got interviews at both and shocked the living hell out of all of my colleagues and peers. But you know, why not? It's an application. So if there's an Ivy League school that you really want to go to, a Stanford, a Harvard, an MIT or a Yale, then why not? Just don't waste the money by applying to all of them. Just apply for a couple and see what happens. You never know. There might be something that really makes you stand out with all of the other students who are applying, and they really want to meet you for whatever reason. So don't limit your chances by only applying to schools that you think that you're going to get into. Reach for the stars, because you might get there. Then I want you to think about the size of the school and program that you're applying for. Do you want a really, really big school and program? So you're kind of anonymous, you slink around in the background, you know, they don't necessarily know who you are. So you're kind of on the lowdown the entire time. Or do you want to go into a smaller school or a smaller program where you're really going to stand out? You know, there's no hiding, everybody knows everyone. And I want you to think about which size program or school you are comfortable with, because that is gonna, you know, you're gonna be there for, you know, probably 5 years or more, and you need to be comfortable in that surrounding. So think about that. Also think about the city that you're thinking about moving to. You know, if you're used to big city life, then you're probably not going to be very happy if you move into the middle of nowhere. Likewise, if you're used to, you know, living in the countryside, you might want the experience of moving to the big city, or it might be a little bit scary for you. So think about those too. I also want you to think about whether going to a bigger school might mean that there's a more diverse population. And sometimes that's true, yay, and sometimes maybe it's not. You have to think about whether it's important to the school or the program to have a diverse population. Are you reflected in the student body? Are you reflected in the administration and the faculty? This could be really important for you in order to feel that you belong, so that you don't get the dreaded imposter syndrome. So I want you to look at all of these things before you even begin to apply to these schools. The next thing I want you to consider is, where are you going to be applying for? Where do you want to live, and can you afford it? So if you're applying for a master's program, you're probably going to be paying for your own tuition and your cost of living and other things. If you're applying for a PhD program, then hopefully, you know, they might be actually paying you a stipend in order to be there, which is wonderful, but you're not going to be earning a huge amount of money. So think about these things. I would love to go and live in New York City, but that's going to be really, really expensive. They have fabulous schools, but is it really feasible to live there? Likewise, San Francisco, horribly expensive. So is Boston. I live in Los Angeles. It is really quite pricey to live here, depending on which area you live in. So think about these things and really think about whether you are willing to go into debt to go to that program and to live in that place. And will living there, will going to that program, is it really going to help you with your next career step, or will just getting that degree from anywhere have the same effect? Or do you need that prestige? Is it important to you? You know, some people really want to have that name, that accolade on their CV, and that's wonderful. And if that's important to you, then let's own that and let's try and get you into one of these prestigious places. But another thing to consider is the prestige of the person that you end up working for. So sometimes going to a smaller school and working for someone who is maybe slightly less prestigious, but will help you get through to the end of your training and really nurture and help you, that might be more beneficial than going to a larger school and not getting the care that you potentially need in order to be successful. Another thing to consider is, what are you going to get from the program? So hopefully they're going to train you in whatever it is that you're interested in, but are they going to give you additional training? Are they going to prepare you for different careers, or are they only going to prepare you to potentially become a professor in that topic? So do they have, seminars and things on transferable skills? Do they talk to you about different career opportunities? So not just becoming a tenure track professor, will they tell you about other ways that you can be successful, how you can utilize your degree in numerous other opportunities? So even if you think that you're going to clearly become a professor or something in that particular topic, you really ought to know your options, because what happens if something untoward occurs and you either change your mind, that isn't what you want to be, or you realize that the competition is just too fierce and you would be much happier doing something else. If you know what your options are, then you can make much more informed decisions at a later date. So is the program going to prepare you for that? So that's something that you definitely need to look into. The next thing I want you to do is find the programs that you're interested in and then research them. So obviously you're going to be going to their website, you're going to be clicking on all the different tabs, especially if they have a FAQ section to look through. You're looking for information on what they'll teach you, how they'll teach you, who are the people that could become potential mentors for you, the costs and the deadlines of the application window, are they doing open houses, when are the interviews? You want to make sure that you know everything that is available to you on their website or in their promotional information. You might be going to a recruitment fair, at which point you can physically go to a table and ask the recruiter information about the institution and about the program. This is a wonderful resource for you so that you make sure that you're applying to somewhere that you're really going to be happy and that they'll help you in order to be successful. Only once you have exhausted all of the resources available to you do you reach out to the person on the other end of the click here for information link. If you ask them a question that they know, and they will know, is readily available on their website, then you're just going to upset them. And believe you me, when I was the person who was approached, I absolutely remembered the people who hadn't done their homework, who were just being lazy. I knew their names. It just, there were hundreds of applicants, but the people who are being sloppy and aren't paying attention to all of the things that are available to them. Likewise, you remember all of the people who ask you the good questions, who are very interested in the program, who are exceedingly polite and realize that you're a person who are patient when you ask a question. You might ask a question 7, 8 o'clock at night, probably not going to get a response for the rest of the evening. You're going to have to wait until the morning when that person goes to work. And if it's over a weekend, again, you're probably going to have to wait until Monday for them to respond. So sending email after email or message after message is not going to help you, and it's probably going to put you in a negative space when it comes to that individual. So remember, whoever you're contacting will have access to the admissions committee, and those people are making a decision about whether they want to meet you or not for an interview process, or if they're just going to offer you a position straight off the bat. So, remember to be really nice to that individual, because they can make or break your application. So now you have decided where you're going to apply. You start the application process. I want you to go in, log into the application system, and hopefully it will allow you to dot around, see all the different things that are required. And I want you to consider going right to probably the end of the application where they're talking about your references, because it will probably send out an automatic notice to the people that you want to write references for, and you want that notice to go out as soon as possible. So check the information. On some applications, it will only do that once you've completed the entire thing. And if that's the case, you need to get your skates on and you need to start completing the rest of the application. If, however, it will send a notice without you finishing the application first, then you should put in your information and get the message sent to them as soon as possible. Your professors are going to be super busy. There's lots of people who are going to be wanting letters from them. And so make it easy for them Don't wait until the last second when they're going to have, 24-hour turnaround, because believe you me, your application is not going to be considered if you don't have letters of recommendation. So make it easy on them. In regards to that, make sure that you've asked the people that you're putting down for a letter of recommendation. I have been put down before and nobody has approached me. And it's a bit of a surprise to get the automatic email, person X has asked for a reference from you, and you're like, whoa, hang on a second, that's a bit rude. So reach out to them, ask them for a good letter of recommendation, and make sure that these individuals know you. So it can't just be from a professor who will say, yes, person X showed up to my class, every time and they got a B. Wonderful. Such a generic letter is going to harm your application. You need someone who knows you, who can talk about your career aspirations, who can talk about whether you're a good student, who can, give them various information which makes you stand out. So if you've got a good personal story and they can write that, make sure that you're asking the people who can do that for you. Because if you just get the generic, meh, they came, they conquered, it's really going to harm your application. So do that. When you reach out to your professors, send them an up-to-date CV. Maybe send them, as parts of your statement of purpose or your personal statement, so that they know a little bit more about you, so that they can make sure that the letter is very individualized to you. So give them everything that they need in order to write you an amazing letter of recommendation, because without that, you're not going to get invited to any interviews. Now, I just mentioned the personal statement or the statement of purpose, and this is a really important part of your application. So you're going to put in a lot of effort into this. And for each school, this is important, for each school, your statement of purpose is going to be different. There can be sections that you keep the same, but there will be sections that you write individually, and you individualize to the school that you're writing for. So what stays the same? Probably the beginning part, because at the beginning you're going to introduce yourself, why you're interested in the topic that you are applying for. What is this story? So hopefully you have an anecdote that will make you stand out against all of your competitors. So, maybe you've read a book that got you excited, you saw a film, you have a mentor, you took a class, whatever it is that really got you excited about this, you need to make sure that that is at the very, very beginning. And maybe that's a career aspiration, you know that you want to be a professor, or you want to go and work in a pharmaceutical company, or you want to cure a disease, whatever it is, it's going to be in there. So that's going to always remain the same. Your career goal is probably always going to remain the same too, because presumably you're applying to programs across the board which are very similar. And then you're going to tailor it. So why are you interested in this particular school and this particular program? What are they offering you that others aren't? What makes it so exciting for you to come here? You need to make sure that you nail that. Why are you going to be successful at this location? Maybe they have resources that aren't available at other places. Maybe there is a technique or a skill that you're really excited to learn, and they are one of the few institutions in order to have the machinery or the knowledge in order to be successful. And finally, this is the key moment. Who do you want to work for at that institution? And that's the key, at that institution. I need you to go onto the website and look for probably 2, maybe 3 if you're pushing it, but definitely 2 people who you'd be willing to work with. So I don't want you to put one person down. That is very dangerous, because what happens if that person isn't accepting students, has run out of funding, and is looking for it, so again, isn't accepting students? Maybe they are considering retirement. Maybe they just, for whatever reason, are thinking about leaving that institution. If the committee reads your application and you've only put one person down, they will be worried that if they accept you, you will not be happy if you do not get to work with that individual. However, if you've put down 2 or 3 different people that you are willing to work for or work with, that will increase your odds because they see, yes, this person has done their homework, they know about the institution, they know what we do, and they have stated that they'd be reasonably happy to work for any of these people. So, hopefully one of them would be taking students that year, and one of them you would feel comfortable enough to work for. So again, that needs to be tailored for every single institution. I have read statements of purpose or personal statements where they have mentioned people who do not work at the institution that I work for. And you're like, crumbs, yes, eventually you might want to work there, but you've probably just blown your chances to come here for your graduate program. So do not make that mistake. And also let your kind of personal characteristics and your personality and what makes you unique come through your essay, because that is what makes you stand out. Lots of the committee will be reading pretty much the same essay before. I'm interested in science, I want to cure cancer, I want to work for, Professor X, and I think that you're going to be great. Wonderful. How many times do you want to read that? Because there's probably hundreds of applications. So what makes you different? What can, make you stand out against all of your competitors? So maybe it's the language that you choose. Maybe you use some unique descriptors, which kind of make you stand out. Maybe your anecdote is so unique or interesting that it stands out. So what on earth is it that is going to make you memorable to the committee out of the hundreds of applications that they receive? The next thing is a lot of programs have dropped the GRE requirement, but if you're international, you will probably have to take the TOEFL to prove that you are good at English. And so one of the things I want you to think about is, study hard for these exams and take them as few times as possible. Now that one is key, because when the GRE sends the results to the school, they not only send your best result, they send all of your results. So as an administrator, I knew if a candidate had taken it once or 8 times. And believe you me, some people do take it multiple times, and you get it and you think, crumbs, is this student any good? How many times did they take this test? So if you're only going to be incrementally increasing your score, then you might want to consider only taking it once or twice. If something really bad happened, you were not prepared, the date of your exam, something terrible happened, it just wasn't a good time for you, then maybe, take it one more time. But really make sure you can nail it for the second time, because, nothing is worse for admissions committees when they're looking at it thinking, crumbs, they had to do this 8-9 times to get a decent score. Are they going to be successful in my program? Are they really ready for graduate school? So make sure that you have taken the test, and also know that the test results can time out. So if you took it a few years ago, some programs will need you to take it again in order for the test result to be admissible. And I know that a lot of you are thinking, that's going to be really easy. It actually isn't. I know really good candidates who have not prepared appropriately for their exams, and then they've basically ballsed them up, and that has then probably meant that they had to wait another year in order to apply for graduate school. So yes, it's an inconvenience, it's also an additional cost, but make sure that you're prepared if you're doing it. Know when the application window ends. And this is really, really important, because the application is probably on a standardized system. At that deadline, it gets turned off. No matter, you reaching out to the administrators, please, my internet went out, something happened, I was unable to hit submit. It's probably too late. They probably won't be able to reinsert you into the process. And some programs do rolling admissions, so they actually start reviewing your application before everyone's is in. So the sooner you get your application in, frankly, the better. So don't wait until the end. If for whatever reason, you found out about a program right at the last second, so you are going to be typing, furiously until the last moment, make sure you know what time zone the application cuts out at. Don't assume it's going to be Pacific time, it could be Eastern, at which point you need to hit submit 3 hours earlier. So absolutely make sure you know these details, because again, it's very unlikely that they will allow a late admission. Now, this is the final piece of advice, and it's super, super important. And I've seen really good candidates get dismissed because of this. Once you have finished your application, read the entire thing, and I mean read it properly and edit it. Make sure there are no typos. Make sure that there are no grammatical errors. Make sure if this is not something that you're good at, that someone else reads your entire application, because it needs to be perfect. Okay, you are asking the admissions committee to take their time in order to review your application. Therefore, you need to show them that you respect their time by putting in the best quality application you can. If they see typos, if they see very basic errors, that is going to put them off your candidacy, even if you are a straight A plus student from an amazing school. That just shows that you're either sloppy or you are being lazy for some unknown reason. It certainly sends the message that maybe you're not ready for graduate school at this moment in time. So make sure that it is absolute perfection before you hit submit. So hopefully my tips will help you. Let me know if this was helpful. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and post your comments below and ask questions, and I will happily get back to you. But going to graduate school, it's a huge step. But it's wonderful if you get into the right program and get the right mentor, and it can definitely do wonderful things for your career. So good luck.